we have questions with Paion, Dr. James Phillips. Paion is a very interesting German company that has a novel sedative and anaesthetic product in the market. How is remimazolam used?
So remimazolam is a sedative anesthetic product which can be used depending on the country where it's approved for general anesthesia or procedural sedation. So currently we have approvals in Japan for general anesthesia and in China and the US for procedural sedation.
Please tell us about the positioning of remimazolam in the sedative anesthetic market against midazolam and propofol.
Remimazolam is a drug that's been designed, originally came out of the laboratories of GSK to basically address the shortcomings of both the other drugs, propofol and midazolam. So in procedural sedation, we're talking about having a very fast onset of sedation followed by a very fast offset. It's also reversible. And that allows clinics to treat more patients, allows the patients to potentially recover faster and then be discharged more quickly. So that has advantages for doctors, patients, and for the healthcare system. In the general anesthesia setting, we're talking about some different set of advantages which relate to what we've seen in clinical trials, particularly in phase 3 general anesthesia studies in Japan, which showed a reduction in the need for vasopressors to increase the blood pressure, because low blood pressure, hypotension, is a key problem during anesthesia around the world and is very much associated with higher morbidity and mortality rates in the post-surgical period. So addressing the needs is a little bit different in general anesthesia to what it is in procedural sedation.
When do you expect the US launch, and what is the Acacia marketing strategy? Acacia be the partner.
The US launch, that's obviously in the hands of our partner. It's not Paion's launch, but Acacia received their DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, scheduling level 4 as expected a couple of weeks ago, and so they'll be preparing a launch in the coming months. Now, the issues that they have to consider in doing a launch at this time of year is that we have Thanksgiving coming up in 4 weeks' time, and then the Christmas break. So I think it's probably likely that they would do a soft launch before Christmas and then do the formal hard launch in the beginning of next year. In terms of their marketing strategy, so they have a specialty sales force calling on ambulatory surgical centers and to an extent hospitals, but with COVID-19, it appears that most of the procedures that are being done in the US are being done in the ambulatory surgery centers, and that means that becomes their core focus for marketing and sales as we go forward.
The European strategy has been developed whilst the EMA is still considering the regulatory filing for procedural sedation. What are the possible scenarios for European commercialization given the price-sensitive market?
So there are really 3 scenarios. The first is that we do it on our own, and that would entail us taking the product to market in key Northwest European territories, and probably then finding partners in the southern and eastern part of the region. The second opportunity is that we just out-license the product to a larger partner who has that capability across Europe. And the third is essentially that we basically take everywhere under our own belt, and we work through in-licensing other products to build sales force capabilities and other products to give us that weight.
Finally, what is the cash position and outlook for funding?
So we released our half-year figures. We haven't yet released Q3 numbers yet. In our half-year figures, we had effectively around 12 million euro But post that time period, we then received a more than 15 million euro in milestone payments upon the US approval. So you can imagine that left the company with roughly 27 million in cash, and our burn rate is relatively small at the moment. So we have the majority of that cash still available.